Well, we do have a very polarized society in Brazil. And right now, Brazil has already a law that also considers online violence to be a crime. We have to convince philanthropy that it's important to fund this, that you have such a thing as public interest media, and that in some cases it will be a market failure. It will be something that it's too expensive for companies to fund or too controversial for traditional companies to fund it.
Tell us about the journalism fund. What is it and why was it created?
The bad one was the state of journalism in Brazil. We were unable to do real investigative stories to cover real issues that affected people. That's a hard question, actually. It seems like a simple question, but I think the Journalist Fund was created exactly after all of this new digital media, independent media was created in Brazil. Asmina is not the only one.
What advice would you give to women building feminist media today?
Oh, that's a hard one also.
Welcome to Sri Lanka and welcome to Stand By with Lahiru on Hari TV. Carolina Oms, journalist and founder of Asmina Foundation. What is your full name?
Carolina Oms,
Which country are you from?
Brazil.
Can you tell us a bit about your family background?
Sure. I have two brothers, one brother and one sister, and just a regular family. But one thing that really changed the way I see the world is that my brother was born deaf, and I think this is why I'm a communicator, because this is a communication problem right in a family. If you have someone who does not understand your language, and you have to translate the word for him, since you were born, because I'm the oldest. I think this is how I began to try to translate the word to other people as well, not only for my brother.
What are your educational qualifications?
I studied journalism in São Paulo.
What was your very first job?
As a digital, in a digital website, I worked with Latin America issues.
What is your current occupation?
Right now, I'm one of the directors of the Brazilian Journalist Fund. I will work with strategy, partnerships, and fundraising.
Okay. Welcome to Sri Lanka and welcome to Stand By with Lahiru on Hari TV. Carolina Oms, journalist and founder of Asmina Foundation.
Thank you for asking me. I'm very glad, and I'm very happy to get to know Sri Lanka. It seems like a wonderful country.
You are the founder of Asmina Foundation. What inspired you to start this organization?
I think two things, one good and one bad. The bad one was the state of journalism in Brazil. We were unable to do real investigative stories to cover real issues that affected people, because journalism was by then already in a state of crisis, business model crisis. And the good thing in Brazil and with an openness that social network provided us, it was the rise of feminism. So me and a few friends, we realized that there was this reason of feminist among the women, but media was not following it. Media did not understood it. So we thought there would be an opportunity to do a feministic journalism, but still journalism in the sense that you hear the other side, you check your stories, you check your sources, but with a background to fight for gender equality.
Okay. What age did you step in the journalism?
I began with 23, but I wanted to be a journalist since I was before I was 10 years old, because I always wanted to help people, to change the world. So when I realized that journalists could do that, I thought that would be the thing that I wanted to do.
What are some of the key contributions Asmina has made so far?
Well, Asmina is 10 years old now. I've left it, but I'm still one of the councilwomen. And on those 10 years, we did campaigns that got mainstream, even though we were just a small organization back then with less than 10 women. We reached millions of people. And also we created projects like research, an app that fights gender violence. And I think one of the most distinguished projects and research was one that monitored gender violence against candidates. And it was online gender violence, which back then in 2020, it was not considered as serious as physical violence. So with using technology and using journalism, we were able to prove and to demonstrate how big it was, how serious it was, and the power, the effect it could have on the candidates, how it could make them not run for office, how it could make them scared. And right now, Brazil has already a law that also considers online violence to be a crime.
Okay. Do you believe that one's personal life can impact their professional journey, especially in the field of journalism or activism?
Of course. I think in every field, the child you are, the student you are, affects who you grow up to be and what you're working with. But if you're working with causes, if you're working with journalism, it's important that everyone has a story and every story matters, but where you come from also will have a saying on what you think is important and how you connect with people. So if you are, you have to consider this, and this is why we at Asmina and at the Brazilian Journalist Fund, we consider diversity to be essential to a broader connection with journalism. Otherwise, people, if you don't see yourself in the journalism, you will not support it, you will not believe in it.
Are you ever had a personal experience related to this? If you don't mind.
No, yeah, sure. Yeah, the first one was my brother, definitely, which kind of woke me up to injustice and to communication. But after that, when I used to work as a reporter for the Supreme Court in a mainstream, a big journal, printed journal in Brazil. And after the impeachment in Brazil, which was actually a white coup, I decided to leave the country with my previous husband, who was a diplomat at Brazil. And as soon as I left my job and became dependent on him, he kind of turned into this controlling man. And things went very bad in there. It was very traumatic. And I came back to Brazil with nothing. I had to leave my things in New Delhi, which was where we lived. I had no job. I didn't know what to do. So back then I already had Asmina. Asmina was already 3 years old or 2, but it was 3 years old. But it wasn't something that I could count on professionally because it was a volunteer work. And I divided my time with freelancing job for reporting and Asmina. So when I came back, I was like, well, I have nothing to lose because I already lost a lot. So, and I had all this energy, all this anger against the injustice that I had suffered. So I decided to really put all of my work into Asmina and make it a institution, like to fundraise. That's where I learned to fundraise. That's where I learned how an NGO works. And it was after all of this, maybe I would never had the courage to do this investment if everything else hadn't failed.
So what is the meaning of Asmina?
Yeah, it means the girls in Portuguese. It's kind of slang. But it's also, because when you speak in Portuguese, you tend to put a lot of words together. And it would be like, as meninas, and then you say it really quick, Asmina. their girls and the girls.
Okay.
Something like that.
Okay. What does being an independent woman mean to you?
Well, I think there can be so many types of independence. You can be, well, I'm married again. I have a baby boy, but I do consider myself an independent woman in the sense that I can make my own choices. I have liberty to go travel to another corner of the world and know that my baby boy is being taken care of. But you can also be a single woman. You can also, be in a relationship with many people. It's not about the relationships you have. It's about how free you are of society norms or of what is expected traditionally of a woman. That's a hard question, actually. It seems like a simple question, but I've never had to define that. So I hope it worked.
So what do you think about the economy independent as a woman?
Yeah, I think in the society we live on, it's difficult to have independency if you don't have economic independence. And I say that also because of what happened to me. People really do change when they have money and power over you. You can never know how they will behave. So if you have a profession, if you have somewhere to fall on, that will give you a cushion in case things go wrong, which I don't know if I would ever give up on that personally again. But I do also respect, and I do also think that women should have the choice to stay at home if they want to trust their partners that they will support and they will be there for them if they need to, even if the worth of nobody should be related to the job you have. Not even women, not even men.
What advice would you give to woman building feminist media today?
Oh, that's a hard one also. And when we created Asmina, I think we created it not really knowing where we are going into. We just we felt this urge and we just did it. We just seized the moment. And then it got really huge and we were like, oh my God, is this working? We were not prepared for it. We didn't know how to fundraise. We didn't know how to make business. We had a plan, like we wanted to make business with other companies that were unafraid of feminists, that were unafraid of independent women. And it turns out we were so futuristic, we were so upfront that at the time no one wanted to make business with us. A couple of years later they did. But I don't think there is a formula, because journalism this is not only for someone trying to build a feminist media only. It's for everyone who plans to make entrepreneurship in journalism. There is no formula because journalism itself, it's changing every year. It changed when Facebook came, and then it changed again when Facebook changed their algorithm. It changed when Google came, it changed. Now it's changing with AI. So if you feel like that you have something to provide for society that no one else is providing, and you believe on it, go for it. But know that the environment is very unstable and you will have to face. And also, do not go alone. Don't make this a you project. Make this a collective project in the sense that bring people with you, otherwise maybe you will burn out if you don't succeed immediately. So for us, we got 3 years of nothing, no money, just volunteer work and audience
Very
support.
hard time.
Very hard time, but we did not burn out because we were 7 women. So every time one gave up, the other one held the fort. So doing this collectively made us go all the way to 10 years now. So if you don't have a business model or a strong funding partner, I think people can be your rock.
Okay. Tell us about the journalism fund. What is it and why was it created?
Well, I think the Journalist Fund was created exactly after all of this new digital media, independent media was created in Brazil. Asmina is not the only one. Before Asmina came many other with other focus. One focused on environment, one focused on investigative journalism, one focused on race. So you had this huge proactive and creative environment of new media and journalism. Like I would say like 300 different initiatives and in the whole different cities of Brazil. And these journalists, because they were so good at making questions and asking for things, you know, journalists are good at investigating where money is, where can you reach the people who give this money away, how to talk to them. So journalists began to going to foundations, to philanthropy, to business, and knock on their doors and say, you know, I do this is very important for democracy, this is important for gender equity, this is important for race equity, and I need funding, you need to help me because this is important. And they started doing this for so many years, it's been like 15 years now, that it came a point that philanthropy did finance it, and part of this ecosystem is financed through philanthropy in Brazil, international and national. But it came to a point that they were like, well, we have no strategy for this. How long are we going to keep funding it? How long? Who are we going to fund? How can we distribute this money into the regions of Brazil that we cannot reach because Brazil is so big? So it kind of became a problem. And so they created the fund, which is an intermediary. The fund receives money from bigger philanthropies and individuals and companies and whoever wants to invest on journalism. And then it distributes to different regions and different realities in Brazil. So it kind of solves a problem for both sides. For investors who cannot reach this and who do not know who these people are, who these initiatives are, and also for the field, for the initiatives, who sometimes will be, if you live in a city up north in Brazil, the offices of the philanthropy or the offices of big companies, they will be in the southeast of Brazil. So they will not reach, it will be much harder to reach. So in this sense, the way the fund is organized, we do open calls with clear rules, with easy ways to apply, so that, you know, you have more fair chances to access this money.
Okay. What were the biggest challenges you faced in setting up the journalism fund?
Well, I think we're still facing a lot of them in the sense that this is not an easy issue to tackle on. It's hard to prove to philanthropy that journalism is something worth funding because for the last decades, journalism was able to fund itself. And it was always a pillar of democracy, but it was also always able to fund itself. So we have a new scenario, and we have to convince philanthropy that it's important to fund this, that you have such a thing as public interest media, and that in some cases it will be a market failure. It will be something that it's too expensive for companies to fund or too controversial for traditional companies to fund it. So the first challenge the fund had to tackle was to gather the funds. So this was a success. We are the first journalist fund in the Global South. And we are funded by I think the four bigger philanthropy that fund journalism in the world, which is Open Society, Oak Foundation, Luminate, and Ford Foundation. So, and also the fifth is a specific focused journalism foundation, which is an international fund for public interest media. So we were able to gather $2.5 million to this first round, the first pilot of the fund. And our challenge now is to prove that this idea, this model, does work, that it does change communities, that it can improve lives, that it can help the initiatives to institutionalize themselves, to know about business, to know about governance, in the sense that they can grow and even eventually not need funding from the fund and from philanthropy. Maybe they will get to know companies from their local realities that will sponsor them. You know, we have to find out new ways to fund journalism, and we have to find out how we can convince society again that journalism is important. Society is in doubt of that because of fake news, because of platforms, because, you know, of so much information. Nobody knows what journalism is anymore. So one of the things that the fund has to do is to prove this matters. And it's not easy.
What is your current role at the Brazilian Journalism Support Fund?
I'm one of the directors. We have two more directors, Daiane Mendes, which is in charge of programs, and Letícia Tavares, which is in charge of operations. I'm in charge as well as the strategic part of the directorship. I'm in charge specifically of fundraising and partnerships. So this is also why I came to Sri Lanka, because I wanted to get to know other people who are thinking about journalism, who are thinking about democracy, who are thinking about politics, and see how we can work together.
Okay. What does your organization focus through its funding work?
Yeah, right now we are focusing on local journalism. This does not have to be always the case, but it was the first choice that we'd made because of a research that it was made before I was hired. So the creators of the fund, they did a research with the field, with people who are very central to journalism, and they realized that all of this difficulty that I was mentioning to you, like the concentration of resources on the southeast of Brazil, the concentration on resources on organizations that do national coverage. So they decided that it was time to fund local initiatives who have been working voluntarily or with small resources, project resources, with no fixed revenue, and it was time to give them a chance to have a little bit of funding that's for personnel, for growth, and see where they can go.
Okay. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to have you in Sri Lanka. Wishing you all the very best for your future, and thank you for joining the EPIJ Summit and being part of the Standby with Lahiru program on Hari TV. Okay, my final question. Could you tell us more about the specific issues Brazil is facing regarding disinformation and misinformation?
Well, we do have a very polarized society in Brazil, with the rise of feminist and racial equality speeches. We have also seen the rise of far-right, racist and misogynistic speeches. And like I would say 20% on the far right, 20% feminist, progressive, and in the middle society, kind of where should I go? But this is also because of the environment that we are living, the news environment, the digital environment. But in Brazil, this also means that we are facing political challenges that we are not sure where they will get us. In Congress, we have, even though society is divided, right now in Congress we have a very conservative parliament and a progressive center president. So it takes a lot of negotiation to get things done. And I'm not really sure what will happen in the next elections.
All the best.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.